Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Stotts. I'm the current board chair for the Sioux Falls Development Foundation, and I'm going to be your MC for today's event, today's very historic event. First, I would like to just recognize the article that was out about Forbes magazine yesterday saying Sioux Falls is the best place, the best small city to start a business and to have a career. And that is quite an honor, and we should be very proud as a city. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We were number 2, which is not bad last year, but we're number 1 this year. So we're very pleased about that. It's my pleasure to be the MC today, and with that, we are truly having a historic day for our community today. Throughout the century, this project has been moving forward. You're going to hear from the mayor and his team about this project. They've done a great job of moving it forward. We have incredible, fantastic potential for Sioux Falls right here in the core of the city. As you look around, you can see the city all around us, and having this rail, in essence, out of here is going to develop this entire area. And it's going to look significantly different in the years to come, and we're very, very excited about that. And we're proud to host this groundbreaking for this space. So my first speaker today is Steve Van Buskirk. Steve is the current board chair for the Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to share a few words. Steve.
Yeah, Steve. Good morning, thank you. It's truly an honor to be here this morning. As I've been thinking about this project and how complicated it is, and how many interested parties worked on this thing, and how many years it took to get it done, it occurs to me that our community really needs dreamers and doers to get something like this done. And we're really fortunate that we had enough of both. We needed the right people at the right time who believed in the project and had the energy to get it completed. So for those dreamers and doers gathered here today, as we stand next to this rail yard that we've seen trains come and go over the decades, I really only have one question. How did you keep track of all the details? I had to try it. There's a lot of train jokes out there. All right, so the Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce, as a representative of the Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce, we're proud to be a part of this ceremony. Downtown redevelopment has been a major success story for Sioux Falls, and this rail yard has been the workhorse for our economy for a century, excuse me. So now that the space has been reclaimed and repurposed to provide an exciting new platform for growth and development, it'll be a new chapter for Sioux Falls. So on behalf of the 2,100 members of the Chamber of Commerce, I congratulate the people who dreamt of this moment and the people that got us here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve. Next, I get to introduce Mayor Mike Huther. I said right before we started, I said, Mayor, you never wear a trench coat, to these things. It's kind of chilly out. And he said, no, I'm tough. And he said, President Kennedy has never used to wear a trench coat, so I don't wear one either. So right. I get to introduce the mayor of our great city, Sioux Falls, Mayor Mike Huther. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Well, thank you very much. And first, folks, move up closer if you don't mind. Let's get a little warmer. First of all, I do want to recognize on this journey, this public service journey, as Senator Johnson and Barb know, there's family that are always part of it. I'm very honored to have my daughter Kylie in the audience today. There is some sacrifice that goes along with being a public servant and includes your family. To have my daughter Kylie here is going to get emotional right away. Honey, thanks for being here. If you don't mind, give her a round of applause.
Yeah, right.
Did you bring my grandson George? Dang it! All right. Well, thank you, Kylie, for being here. I'm gonna start with a pretty bold statement, but I believe it from the bottom of my heart, and so here you go. This rail yard redevelopment project will prove to be the most influential accomplishment in Sioux Falls history. It will. This is the biggest thing that this city is going to see. It's in the heart of our town. It is going to take this unbelievable city to an all-new level, and I'm just so pleased to play a small part in it. It also was, in my 8 years of having the honor and the pleasure to serve as your mayor, certainly the most convoluted and difficult task that I've ever been part of, or be blessed to be part of. As a city and a state, you have to go back to how this thing started, and that's where I want to go. I mean, this would not have happened if not for a $35 million earmark that was that ultimately we received thanks to the efforts of some other incredible leaders, and I do want to recognize them, and that's why I wanted you to get just a little bit closer, because I want you to hear these names as well as, if you can, get a chance to really thank them, because one of them is here and two others are being represented. First of all, folks, this would not be a reality. This would not have the potential to be the most influential accomplishment in Sioux Falls history if not for these three people. I'm going to start with Senator Tim Johnson. Senator Tim Johnson is here with us today. If you don't mind, let's give him a round of applause. And here's the first pickaxe, Senator Johnson. Also, another incredible man that was a part of this effort was Senator John Thune. Senator Thune is not here today. However, you have to realize he's very influential, especially he's an influential partner when it comes to working with our rail partners. Ben Reddy. Ben was on these super secret little flights that we were on and things like that we can't tell you about in media. Sorry. But Ben was part of that journey. He is here representing Senator Thune. If you don't mind, let's give Senator Thune and Ben Reddy a round of applause. And then there's not only the Senate side, there's the House side as well. And our representative at that time was Representative Hersa Sandlin. The President, Hersa Sandlin, could not be with us here today. However, Pam Miller, I don't know if Pam is in the audience, but if you wouldn't mind, let's recognize Representative Hersa Sandlin, now President Hersa Sandlin as well. Being awarded this $35 million earmark is one thing, but executing the project is and actually put those funds to work, that's a whole nother thing. There's so many people that I want to recognize. Mark is going to help in that effort, but if you don't mind, just from the city of Sioux Falls, some of those key folks were, of course, Mark Cotter, who just kept saying, "Mayor, inch by inch by inch, we'll ultimately get this done." Josh Peterson. Josh is our city's interface when it comes to working with the rail folks, especially BNSF. People like Kendra Simmonsma, and I don't know if Kendra's here she was our project manager who ultimately did figure out how to get all those details done, and so many more. The state of South Dakota, Department of Environmental Natural Resources, the governor's team, and so many others. Certainly BNSF, and we're so blessed to have folks here from all over the country from BNSF here today celebrating this great accomplishment. And for those who say, you cannot work with the Railyards, you cannot work with these folks because they're just an incredibly powerful group. Sioux Falls worked with them, and we found great common ground. We made good things happen. So BNSF, certainly I want to thank you, and so many others. If you don't mind, let's just give them all a round of applause. and I'm almost done. Now truly the fun part of this journey, the dreaming that will happen, the investing that'll happen, the building that will occur, the developing, then ultimately the enjoying, and then yes, the celebrating. Sioux Falls, I've certainly been honored over the last 8 years to represent you as your mayor. I love trying to make things happen, and ultimately this is one that ultimately I'm just thrilled to be part of. But I will be brutally honest with you. This one took some years off my life. I know it did. And it took years off of Mark's life too. He knows it did. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it. These challenges that we face as public servants and as community or state or national leaders, it is all worth it if you can make a difference. But I am going to ask just a couple of things in return. I'm almost done being your mayor, but I am going to make some requests of future leaders yet to come. Number one, these investments that we put on these 10 acres, they need to be grand. They need to be big. They need to be visionary. Because they're going to need to serve the citizens and visitors of our great city for generations and generations to come. So don't minimize that. Number two, make the developers that want to be part of this grand 10 acres, make them earn it. This needs to be done right versus done fast. We're only going to get one opportunity to really develop these 10 acres in a way that will serve us for hundreds and hundreds of years in the future. So I know that there's developers and investors and dreamers that are so hungry to be part of this project. I get that. I'm excited too. But they're going to have to earn it. Or I beg of you, future leaders, make them earn it. And by the way, don't ever forget, there's been a huge investment already made in this. Yep, some time, some sacrifice, some talent. But also remember, the United States taxpayers, they invested $35 million on this project to ultimately make it happen. So that investment has been made to buy this incredible piece of property right in the heart of our city. So my final thought is this: let's not let them down either. $35 million is a big deal. Earmarks don't happen anymore. We got one of the final ones executed in the United States history right here in Sioux Falls. So let's break some rails, Sioux Falls. Let's make this great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Huther. A very nice presentation. Next up, but before I get to the team that helped put this together, that have all aged through this process, especially Mark, I too would like to recognize Senator Johnson, his wife Barbara, Senator Thune, Congresswoman Herseth Sandlin. It wouldn't have happened, obviously, without your support. So again, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. So now to the team that helped make this happen with the mayor as the quarterback and the cheerleader for this team. First is Mike Cooper, the Director of Planning and Strategic Services. So
that's close enough.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. My task today is to do a little bit more reflection backwards in time. And it's important for those of you to remember what the railroad industry meant to the beginning of Sioux Falls. With the railroad, Sioux Falls became a regional hub for warehousing, for distribution, for ag commodities, and for manufacturing. And so without the railroads, we would probably not have that Forbes article that we're hearing about today. So as we're celebrating today the removal of track, let's remember what the railroads meant to the city of Sioux Falls and to the Midwest, and we are going to do that. But as you can imagine, as the city of Sioux Falls has changed over the years, and even as the railroad industry has changed over the years, there was a need to start removing track, and there's a number of locations even within the downtown area where track has been removed. Portions of Faywick Park, portions of the bike trail, a pedestrian bridge over the river, all of that at one time involved the railroad industry. And so we determined, going back in the 1990s, that there was a real opportunity for the switching yard to find a new purpose. And as part of that, we did a first phase, which was the Phillips to the Falls, and that street opened up in 2004. And that also involved removing of some switching yard and removal of some bad industry from downtown Sioux Falls. So looking forward, as we reflect on the history of the railroads, part of our project is going to include the installation of a permanent structure down here that talks about the history of the railroads, the history of the depot buildings, which are some of our more unique architecture that we have left in the city of Sioux Falls. And so that's part of our task, is to remember what the railroad industry has done for the city of Sioux Falls, and also remember that's going to continue to be a part of our industry going forward, because the railroads are not going to go away. And I don't know if anybody's here from BNSF,
Yes.
but we know that you're going to stay in business and you're going to keep doing good things for our community going forward. So yeah, let's thank them as well. So we're excited to tell you next about what's going to happen on this site. And from that, I guess I'll turn it back to Steve.
Great.
Okay, thank you for being here today.
Good job, Michael.
Thank you, Director Cooper. Next, I have up Mike Cotter, who's the Mark Cotter, Director of Public Works. Mark, all yours.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Steve. All right, well, good morning. Thanks for coming today. You know, today we really get a chance to celebrate a true vision and people that were visionary in Sioux Falls that had some big ideas, and now those big ideas are really coming to fruition. We're gonna make a rail tip over that hasn't happened here in over 100 years, and so just thank you so much for coming. Brief history. Let's go back in time just to 2005, when South Dakota's congressional team, and thank you so much for being here today, Senator, to enjoy some true South Dakota weather. He fought for this project from the very beginning, and along with our entire congressional delegation, to make sure that the $40 million that was earmarked and congressionally added to make sure that this day actually happened, they seen it through. On August of 2015, right here with BNSF Railway Company, we signed the purchase agreement for this downtown Railyard. The city agreed to pay $27.3 million for this 10 acres of land, and the purchase provided for the city to take over the downtown Railyard. Burlington Northern will still have 2 active rail lines through our downtown. This is the heartbeat of our city and the heartbeat of really modern transportation for the city of Sioux Falls. For the past 2 years, the city of Sioux Falls, we granted BNSF Railway Company an easement to occupy this rail yard while they built a new modern interchange out by Great Bear in the northeast part of the city. Those new assets are built, and it's time for that last boxcar to leave this yard so we can actually go to the next chapter. So thank you, Burlington Northern.
Can we clap to that?
Yes, let's do it.
Sorry, Amy.
I do want to thank Mayor Huther. He's had great leadership and support to finish this project, so let's thank Mayor Huther.
Thank you, brother.
I also want to thank a number of the city council members. There's new council members, but also the council that was here that voted unanimously to approve this purchase agreement. Let's give them a hand of applause. All right, we of course would not be here without one incredible ally, which is the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway Company that has over 50 local employees. They went with us on this long journey, and it's been a long journey. I had brown hair before this started.
Love you, brother.
But one of the things that we needed to do, because we had the big ideas that started, they were too big. They were bridges over the falls. They involved a substantial amount of infrastructure that just with federal dollars were not able to be achieved. BNSF involved a new team, really rethought their current railway network, their current customers, planned for growth, and came back with a really low-cost, low-environmental solution that will still modernize how they move freight in this town. So we greatly appreciate it. And I know Amy, Mike, Jerry, and Mark are here today. Let's thank you for your leadership and your commitment. All right, and some final acknowledgments. Many leaders and partners have been engaged in this project from the very beginning. I would like to thank Mayor Munson, Governor Dugard, Ellison Eastern Railway, the DNI Railroad, South Dakota Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, project consultants of HDR, Mark Mickelson and Company, Alfred Benish, Hosh Appraisals, Hall Wittes Appraisals, the Sioux Falls Area Chamber of Commerce, Sioux Falls Development Foundation, Metropolitan Planning Organization, and Downtown Sioux Falls. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you all.
Many current and former city staff members have also been involved, and I'd like to acknowledge them. Some of this is duplication. Josh Peterson was our project manager. He kept track of the details, Steve. Diane Best is our legal advisor. She's in the front row. Mike Cooper, Kendra Simmonsma, Aaron Bovenkamp, Heather Hitterdahl, Chad Heavey, Galen Huber, Shannon Austin, Gary Halstead, Roy Fletcher, Matt Anderson, Dina Knudsen, Diane DeQuaker, John Smith, and the late Steve Meltley. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, and I know we've got some public works guys in the back, Dean, Ben, and Jason. They've got a couple excavators parked down on 6th Street. The daily commuters and visitors will be happy to know we're going to start ripping out those tracks at 6th and 8th Street. We're going to start on 8th Street today. We hope to get that area paved back so it'll be nice and smooth for daily commuters. And then next week we'll tackle these right in 8th Street so we can have a nice smooth road for the winter.
Stop, everybody.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then what needs to be done in 2018, we're preparing plans right now with our local consultant, HDR. We'll actually have plans to remove all the rail in the 10 acres. And then we'll go in, we'll remove the ties, the rock ballast, we'll place topsoil, seed it, place permanent pavement in 6th and 8th Street. And then we'll put an appropriate fence on the east side of the property to really separate the redevelopment area and the 2 active rail lines. So just as we're here today, just very few cities have the opportunity to really rethink 10 acres of land in the center of their city. Sioux Falls does. Thanks for coming.
I love it. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks very much, Mark. And last but not least, we have Darren Ketchum. Darren is the Director of Development for the community for Sioux Falls.
Thanks, Steve. Well, thank you all for being here today. What a great opportunity to celebrate with just people that have been part of this project from the very beginning and some of the folks that'll work to take this forward. As everybody has mentioned, this property has served us very well over the last century, and we look forward to redeveloping this into something we can all be proud of for centuries to come. I think the mayor really just hit it perfectly when he said, you know, we need to challenge those dreamers, those visionaries to go bold, go big. We're not going to do this in 1 year. We're not going to do this in 2 years. We're probably not going to do it in 10 years. But we are going to work to make sure that what we do on this property, this $35 million investment, is something that our community will be proud of for centuries, not just our grandkids, our great-grandkids and beyond. So you can rest assured that's what our team is working towards. I know everybody's probably cold. I know I am, so I'll keep my remarks really short. But I'd ask everybody just close your eyes. You know, we started this visioning process You know, a year ago we had a consultant come in and just kind of come around and talk to our friends, our business partners, our leaders in our community, and just ask them, what do you envision on this property? What's your dream? What do you want to see here? And you participated, you led, you came back and you resoundingly said, hey, we want to see mixed use, we want to see office, we want to see people living downtown in even greater numbers, but we want it to be a place that you can have fun. You know, I don't know how many of you ever stop over at Fernson when the train comes by, but if you haven't, I'd really encourage you to stop by. They have a neat little game they play when the train comes by, so you'll have to stop by to find out the details of it. But, so when you're thinking about this, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking of a 6-story building, an 8-story building, a 10-story building, or is it beyond? Is it 10 stories, 12 stories? Is it that new high-end 5-star hotel? Is it a new mixed-use office development that has condos for workforce housing, for high-end housing, luxury housing? The downtown Railyard is going to have something for everybody. You know, we want that public market space. We want that place that you can come down with your family and enjoy some of the nice outdoor art that we have throughout our downtown. We want to see those amenities extended into the Railyard. And that's what our team is going to work towards. One thing is very certain. The future for the Railyard and the future of downtown is very bright. And our team is going to work very hard over the coming months to bring that first project to the community for their consideration. We look forward to working with those visionaries, those dreamers, those doers, as Steve calls them. Those people are going to get this done. You know, from my perspective, this is one of our last great hurrahs as the city government in terms of this Railyard. We're going to be standing along and cheerleading these visionaries, these doers in the future as the private sector takes over and truly makes this Railyard into something that we can all come and experience for the next several decades. So this is a $35 million opportunity that we're only going to get once in our life. We're going to get this right. We're going to work very hard for the community. We look forward to bringing some proposals forward in the coming months for the citizens, for the businesses, for the City Council's consideration, something that I think you'll all be proud of. So thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for joining us today, and let's get these tracks out of here.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you, Darren. When you said close your eyes, after about 30 seconds, I felt I was going to tip over with the wind and the cold. But I'd certainly, again, one last time like to thank the mayor. This would not have happened without the mayor and the team of everybody that spoke. Steve with the chamber. Why don't we now tip some rail, huh?
Let's do it. All right, Sioux Falls. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.